fucking stretch.
Yeah.
During that time. Anyway,
bro.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome inside the Fantasy Stock Exchange. We're doing this live. So basically, if you guys are unfamiliar with what we talked about on Sunday's live stream, instead of putting out the recap video Monday morning, we're going to do it live as we go through some questions and interact with you guys. We're going to go through our biggest takeaways from week 10 for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I'm recording in a different spot today, or not recording, but live in a different spot today, setting up my PC in the other room. So I'll have that ready to roll basically for next live stream as well. So super pumped for that. Just going to be recapping a nice weekend in football, answering some viewer questions in between then. Once you guys start filling in, you'll be noticing that as well. And should we just wait until a couple people roll in, or people are in now? Okay, we'll wait for you. So 3 people are in right now. I'm assuming people are going to start rolling in once I see those notifications pop up. We could start off the recap with that. T. Higgins, rest of season, man. Top 20 receiver. I mean, he is, as much as I love Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins has become.
Let's go right to the T. Higgins stuff, because I tweeted this out earlier, and basically what I tweeted out was how consistent and how good T. Higgins has been. Since week 3, he has not scored less than 10.2 PPR fantasy points, and he has between 7 and 9 targets in 6 of those 7 games. And in the game he didn't have 7 to 9 targets in, he had 5 for 71 and a touchdown, so he was fine in that game. Over that stretch, wide receiver 13 in points per game, wide receiver 10 overall during that stretch, and he's averaging almost 17 PPR points per game. Yeah. And that's higher than McLaurin, Ridley, Woods, Kupp, Amari Cooper, Adam Thielen, Kenny Golladay. He's been really, really good this season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously coming out at the break, we saw CeeDee Lamb come out. We saw Justin Jefferson break out. Since then, T. Higgins has really took that step forward since we were talking about him as a potential waiver claim. You remember the days when T. Higgins was a waiver, and now he's probably your team's wide receiver 2 on a consistency basis. It's just insane how much he's developed over the year. He gets the targets from Burrow. Burrow really looks to him in critical situations. I mean, this guy has been as consistent as they come. Man, T. Higgins, rest of the season, moving forward, this guy's going to be a stud.
Yeah, he's got to be in the top 20 consideration. He should be up where Jefferson is. Where people consider Justin Jefferson is where they should be considering T. Higgins, and probably even more so because T. Higgins has been much more consistent. Yes, Jefferson has had bigger booms, but I mean, I don't think we've seen T. Higgins' biggest boom yet. He's only had a couple 15 plus point games, but I think he's capable of having a 25, 30 point game.
Yeah, I know. I fully agree. So we'll get into a couple questions. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon.
Even on the West Coast.
I guess. I mean, we're at night right now. It's 7:05 for us right here.
It's black outside right now.
Do you think that I should trade Boyd? I have Higgins on my bench as well. So this kind of segues into what we were talking about. I still think Boyd is going to be good for the rest of the year.
I'd rather have Higgins, though.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. I would rather have Higgins. Now, if people are still willing to give you wide receiver 3 type value for Higgins, if you could package, or not Higgins, Boyd, if you could package Boyd and maybe a running back and go after a better running back upgrade, say you have, I don't know, think of a fringe RB1 type. If you can upgrade that to a Derrick Henry, I would absolutely do that.
If you can package Tyler Boyd and Deandre Swift for Josh Jacobs or something like that, or maybe, I don't know. I'm just going off the top of my head.
Speaking of Deandre Swift, man, they were not joking when they said he was going to be the quote unquote starter. I mean, you tweeted it out.
Yeah, I'll pull it up right now. So basically with Deandre Swift, when we were live on Sunday, we got reports that they were going to name him the starting running back. And I was like, okay, well, how much does that actually mean anything? Because from a snap perspective, he had already been the quote unquote starter 45% of the snaps. But what it meant was 73% of the snaps, 5 targets, 16 of the 21 running back carries. Kerryon Johnson only got 1 carry. Adrian Peterson got 4. And then 25 out of 41 of the running back routes. And I've already talked about how Deandre Swift is the best pass protector on that team. So he had no kind of worries for being the third down back from the beginning. But to see him actually get the carry volume and what you would probably consider for a third down back as a negative game script, because they were leading the whole game. They're up 24-3 at one point. You would assume, give it to Adrian Peterson, the big pounding running back, and close it out in the fourth quarter. No, they used DeAndre Swift the whole game.
As crazy as this sounds, are we really saying that there should be a huge difference between even James Robinson and DeAndre Swift for the season? If DeAndre Swift is going to keep getting this workload and you actually compare their schedules, To me, they're neck and neck right now. Like DeAndre Swift, I would still prefer James Robinson because we've seen it over a prolonged stretch of time, whereas DeAndre Swift, it's just been recent. But man, DeAndre Swift has firmly entrenched himself into that back end RB1 type range. And you absolutely love to see it because we talked about it all year going into the season that if DeAndre Swift were to ever get Patricia's trust and become that main back for that team, like he had RB1 type upside, and we're really seeing it now. I mean, that game yesterday, he looked good. He got the carries. He got the overall passing volume. He looked efficient with his touches. He wasn't just logging touches. Like it wasn't like a David Montgomery 25 touches. It was a good, efficient 25 touches. And if we consistently see him get that type of touch workload, he's talented enough to keep up that efficiency. So, man, my draft crush coming in always was DeAndre Swift, and he's really proven that right. He was one of my guys going into the season.
I liked DeAndre Swift, but you were definitely higher on him than I was. I had him. So the way I had it ordered. Big yikes. I had Jonathan Taylor, the best running back of the bunch. But I had J.K. Dobbins too. And I don't think anyone else had J.K. Dobbins as high as I did. Most people had him like in the back of that like 4 or 5 area with Cam Akers or whatever. And then I had CEH 3 and DeAndre Swift 4. But I still had
free landing stuff?
Mid and high second round grades in all 5 of them. So and I think I had a late first on Taylor. But
I'll briefly mention it, but man, I had DeAndre Swift as my one like all summer. And then once the combine came around and then the draft Twitter kind of took over, I kind of caved in a little bit. Still had Swift as a round 1 talent, but moved Taylor up. And that just reminds me, stick to your guns, okay? Don't just let other people or other like analysts or so influence what you believe. Like what you see, what you're able to analyze based off your own informed opinion. Stick with it because man, when you make hits like that, it is just a great
especially if it's unpopular too, because there's a lot of people, if you told someone that you think Jefferson's the best receiver in this class, a lot of people would have told you you're nuts. I love Justin Jefferson. I thought he was a great receiver. I didn't think he'd be this good this early, but there was people that were down on him. There was people that were way higher on guys like Jalen Reagor and way higher on guys like, I mean, even T Higgins has been great, but like me and Danny weren't as high on T Higgins coming in. Like there was a lot of division on Justin Jefferson. And I think if you stuck to your guns on Justin Jefferson, because I didn't see really any flaws to his game when I watched him at LSU. I was like, this dude's ready to play right away. The only issue I had was that he didn't play against press very often.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was your main knock on CD Lamb.
And I thought he might have been confined to the slot too. That was my only 2 concerns with him.
What we've seen is these teams that have spent high draft capital on their receivers have done so excellent in terms of scheming them into the right spots. I mean, T. Higgins had his flaws in college, which is why me and you were both lower on him. Cincinnati, what they've been able to do and just letting him play his own game and thrive. Justin Jefferson, obviously for Minnesota. Dallas with CeeDee Lamb, obviously before Dak got hurt, but he's still been okay since then. But specifically,
Judy's starting to see it now.
I mean,
too.
We're seeing a lot of young, talented receivers really taking that next step. So you love to see that. So we'll get into a few more questions and go over some more recap after this as well. Let's hope you hit a boom week, brother.
Yeah, 42.1's a lot. If you had Dalvin Cook, I'd be like, it's possible. But
I mean, we've seen it.
Yeah.
You guys think? I think some of you guys overrate. Nah, it depends what overrating.
If you think we're talking from the frame that we think T. Higgins is like a top 10 receiver rest of the season, then that would probably be overrating him. But I think he's solidified in the top 20. I think he's a wide receiver 2 through and through. He's exactly what you want out of a wide receiver 2. He's been consistent. He has some ceiling. He has a high floor, and he's in an offense that throws the ball a lot with a quarterback that obviously trusts him. And he's a big play threat too. Like he really has the whole package. The only thing we really haven't seen from him thus far is like touchdowns, but he still has like a couple. He has 4 touchdowns, I think. So he's still not been that bad in that category. He might even see that number go up in the coming weeks.
I thought he would, like, coming into the league, if he was going to bring you fantasy value, I thought it would be specifically on touchdowns. It's been on volume. It's been on getting those receptions. It's been on actually being a consistent yardage guy. I didn't think the one game that would quote unquote have to catch up would be the touchdowns for him. He's just been a good real life fantasy football wide receiver, somebody that's really going to develop down the stretch. Who scores the first touchdown tonight?
Yeah, it's worth noting too that I don't know if any of you guys have your trade deadlines opening. You want to know what his schedule is the rest of the season? So he just played Pittsburgh. He has Washington this week, which, I mean, Washington's been the best pass defense in the NFL this year against receivers. But after that, he has the Giants. And with the Giants, we might see Bradbury on Green and not on him.
Yeah, potentially.
Then he has the Dolphins, who have been a little friendlier to receivers than they've been to other positions. Then in the playoffs, he has Dallas, Pittsburgh again, who he just kind of torched, and Houston in the championship week.
Yeah, no, that's definitely gonna be some fun.
All three are top 10 matchups.
Oh, interesting. Is MT a top 10 receiver with Winston as a quarterback? And now you're talking about this week. You're talking about rest of the season.
I honestly think he was a top 10 receiver with Breeze.
Yeah. I still think that MT is going to be able to really catch up to what we have as his expectation. Again, first 2 weeks, he's coming off injury, was still able to rack up 13 targets. Hasn't necessarily been great per se, but I mean, you look for projectable volume, and especially too in terms of overall targets. Winston is going to be able to provide him some higher value targets, in my opinion. I know his ADOT last week.
I don't think they're going to change his role though. Like he might like what Jameis does is Jameis will trust him. He will throw him jump balls and stuff that Breeze probably wouldn't have thrown him. So you actually might see him get a little bit more volume. I don't really think necessarily the value of his volume changes. I actually think it goes down a little bit because I mean, Winston's pretty accurate in that area of the field, but no one's as accurate as Breeze in that area of the field.
I mean, obviously, in terms of catchable target rate, I think it's going to decrease. But I mean, in terms of overall average depth of target, like I think he's going to be used more so downfield than we've seen with Breeze. Because again, I've highlighted this multiple times with Breeze last year. He set the all-time receptions record. 85% of his routes came under 15 yards last year. I do think that can see a slight uptick with a guy in Winston who's not, I don't want to say not afraid to throw it down the field, but is definitely more.
He's used to using a weapon like Thomas, though, because he had Godwin last year.
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely think Thomas is going to be a top 10 receiver.
I think Sanders sees the biggest bump, personally.
Also, have you seen MT in the Saints record against, or not record, rest of season schedule?
Is it really easy? They have Atlanta twice. I know that.
Yep. You want to go check it because I am pretty sure MT plays the Minnesota Vikings in the championship.
Really? Yeah. I know I think Tampa Bay plays in week 15. So that would kind of make sense. All right. So Michael Thomas, he plays Atlanta next week, Denver, which is also a top 10 matchup the week after, Atlanta again in week 13. And then he has Philly, which is, he'll have Slay, but Slay doesn't travel to the slot and he'll get moved around. And then he has Kansas City in week 15, which, it should be a high scoring game, but they're pretty stingy against receivers. And then, Minnesota in week 16 for the championship, which is the second best matchup for receivers.
Should be fun. So we'll get through a couple more and then do a little more recap. James Robinson got 2+ 20-yard touchdowns called back because of holds. You love to see that when you're playing against James Robinson. But should I be worried about AJ Brown? Plays Baltimore and the Colts again, 3.1. Oh, yeah, he highlights what he did against the Colts this week. Worried? No. Tempering expectation for those matchups, perhaps. And Baltimore hasn't been as stingy against opposing receivers as
I think he'll be just fine against Baltimore. Colts is a little bit of a worry. Okay. I've said this a million times. I'm going to continue to say it. Thursday night football sucks.
Yes.
If that game happens Sunday at 1 p.m., I don't think AJ Brown gets 3.1 points. I'm going to say that right now. The way Thursday night football is, it's just waiting for weird shit to happen. I don't think that AJ Brown would have struggled in that game as much as he did if it wasn't on Thursday night.
I know. I fully agree. Again, it's nice when you're playing against them, but realistically, I just don't think that's going to be happening a lot for AJ Brown. He's too talented. He's too used in this offense to be phased out of games just like that. Not to mention, the Colts came out and absolutely whooped the Titans on Thursday night football. For the record, me betting on that game ended up ruining a huge parlay, for the record. Also worth noting that Troy Pope cost me $600. So, he couldn't get 9 receiving yards.
That hurts.
By the way,
Troy Pope did nothing. We'll take the L on that. We thought it was going to be Pope and not Balaj, and it was Balaj.
We'll definitely take the L on that. That's a big takeaway from Sunday, because we were telling you guys to start Pope with confidence as an RB3, and the Chargers just didn't agree with us.
Yeah.
But let's get into a couple more. We're getting closer and closer on the victory lap, calling that Harris is going to be the guy that ends don't start a New England running back narrative. Now, let me touch up upon the New England backfield, if you will. Okay. Harris is the first and second down thumper. We already know that at this point. He's not going to contribute much in the receiving game. So ultimately here, if New England is in a negative game script, or if he's not efficient to start the bat, guys like Rex Burkhead, James White are going to chip in. Even
if that does happen, those two other guys are going to still piss you off if you don't.
Rex Burkhead is just the ultimate piss off because, like, if you start him in your lineup, he'll have a week where he gets 3.1. And then the week you bench him, he'll just vulture like 2 touchdowns or catch one from Jacoby Myers. Talking about Jacoby Myers, he looks like the real deal.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers.
He's the third highest graded receiver on PFF right now.
I mean, he's looked excellent. And to be honest, if you guys were able to get Jacoby Myers for cheap on the waivers or traded for him cheap, maybe a throw in a package, I think he can give you good wide receiver 3 value down the stretch. Like he's that highly utilized in the offense to be able to do so. So, man, New England keeps surprising us on the year. And for the record, Jacoby Myers in that game has a third of Cam Newton's passing touchdowns on the season. He threw a touchdown and Cam has 3 on the year. So
yeah, that's a great stat.
Rest of the year, Brady, Allen, or Tannehill. If that is Josh Allen, give me Josh Allen there.
I disagree. I think it's Tom Brady.
Over Josh.
Schedule? Have you seen his playoff schedule?
He does have the week 13 bye week too.
He does. But if you can handle that, I have Deshaun Watson in that league, and Deshaun Watson plays like Jacksonville or I can't remember. He plays someone easy in week 13, so it works out perfectly. But Tom Brady has, I believe it's Atlanta, Minnesota, and Detroit, the 3 weeks of the playoffs. Like it is smash city. Yeah.
For the record, the Bucs are also a very good team when they're not playing New Orleans. For the record, whoever's watching the live stream. So
New Orleans is their crux. In their Super Bowl year, New Orleans actually swept them. They went 12-4 and won the Super Bowl, and New Orleans swept them that year.
Yeah, that's crazy. Is Joe Mixon coming back this week?
Man, I don't know. It doesn't look good for Joe Mixon. Like it seemed like I thought for sure he would have been back after the bye week.
Yeah, same. For the record, I mean, I like tooting my own horn, but still was able to Kamara, was able to get Kamara for Mixon, Diggs, and Juju in a keeper league. So
you gave up more than I did, dude. I got Kamara for Joe Mixon, Antonio Gibson, and Robert Woods.
Wow. Okay, you
and I got Latavius Murray too.
Wow, I need that. What is CMC trade value right now? People saying he's coming back after the bye, which is week 14.
That's probably when he's going to come back.
To me, that depends what your record is.
You need to be like 8-1 to trade for him, or I guess to be
7-2. I would
8-2 or 9-1 is the only reason I would trade for CMC. I would not trade for him if you were not at that point because you're going to have to give up a lot for him. You're going to have to give up James Robinson and AJ Brown for CMC. Like, regardless of his injury, that person who has CMC, 1, probably took him first overall, and 2, they've had to bear with him already through this entire season. So at this point, why would they be like, oh man, like I might as well get rid of him now? The only chance they're going to do that is if they really, really need to win.
I traded for him like 2 months ago, and I've only had 1 week of him. So pain, whatever. I'm already.
All right, we talk about the Bucs backfield. I'm itching to talk about it.
Yes. Ronald Jones, he fumbles and he prospers on. Let's get it. Take it away.
All right, so. First, I want to preface this by saying this only happened because I benched him. Second, when he fumbled, I was like, damn, I made the right decision by benching this dude.
I tweeted it too.
He's gone. Curtains. Like, smell you later, dude. Like, you're gone. This is the rest of your game. We're going to hear a nice heavy dose of Leonard Fournette. Not only did he not get benched in favor of Fournette, he played 47 snaps on the game, which was 59%, to 24 snaps, 36% for Leonard Fournette. And the ones that Fournette was in, I watched this game very closely, being that I'm a fan of the team. Fournette, I swear to God, was only in on 3rd and longs. Like, it didn't seem like he ever got the ball when it was like a carry situation. Like, he only seemed like he got the ball when it was 3rd and long or like something like that, where Rojo is obviously not the best option to have in the backfield. But so he also out-touched him 25-10. He housed a 98-yard touchdown run, which is, for a guy like Ronald Jones, who we've seen when he's confident, how good he can be. And it's a confidence position. Running backs are usually like that, but especially for Ronald Jones, when Fournette was out those 3 games, he was running like probably a top 5 running back in the NFL. Like, as a pure runner, the way he was running when Fournette was out those 3 games was like immaculate. And I think the leash is the big deal, right? The fact that he didn't get benched after coming off of a game where, like, he wasn't, I mean, I guess it wasn't his fault against the Saints because they got destroyed. But he didn't play. He played a season low in snaps last week. 2 weeks ago, he fumbles against the Giants, and it was a key fumble and nearly cost him the game. The fact that he was able to stay on the field after fumbling like that is huge. And it means Bruce Arians is actually like, okay, Fournette is that bad of a runner that even if we have to deal with a fumble per game from Ronald Jones or a drop pass per game, it's better than having Leonard Fournette in the backfield. Because Leonard Fournette, I shit you not, John Ledger tweeted this out today. It was like this week on where the fuck is Leonard Fournette going? And it was literally like a wide open hole you could drive a bus through. And he cut back the other way. It was like a Trent Richardson style picture. It like Jonathan Taylor could have fucking hit this hole.
For real. I mean, Ronald Jones, rest of the season, is a fringe RB1. If he's given this leash on a week-to-week basis, he's at minimum in the top 15.
Again, I mean, this could all change next week. He could fumble.
Absolutely.
And he could be gone. I've said he's a week-to-week player every single week this year. But as of right now, the confidence, the leash actually being there, because he had a non-existent leash before. It was like he looked at Bruce Arians wrong and he'd get benched. So the fact that he actually kind of has a leash now, he has some confidence. He just nearly had 200 yards rushing, I think is big for him. And he has a pretty easy schedule, much like the entire Bucs team going forward.
At such a scarce position at running back, I am willing to deal with him getting benched every now and then for the type of upside he gives. If you're looking at the position as a whole, like it is a bunch of mess after even like the first 7 or 8 running backs.
I'm what you're getting on a week. I have him as my RB3 because I have Alvin Kamara, and I mean, I guess he might even be my RB2 because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But
he's your RB2 right now. Yes.
Yeah, but what I want to see with Clyde Edwards-Helaire is coming off the bye week, because if the Chiefs are coming off a bye, they might be like, okay, why are we running the ball 10 times a game? We just spent the 32nd overall pick on a running back. But either way, I think Ronald Jones, huge winner this week. Like as I mentioned, not only the fact that he has a leash now, he finally has a leash, and 2, his confidence is up. So that is not good for people who are going up against Ronald Jones heading into the playoffs, because he's a flex play for me, and that's really scary to my league mates, because they're like, man, he's not even like you don't even really have to rely on him.
Yeah, no, fully. Okay, Meme House, you can get put on timeout, buddy. That's just please don't spam a bunch. Like, I don't know what that is.
All right, spicy hot
taco, the boy. I always love that profile pic. Should I just start playing the Colts D on all matchups, because these last few weeks I've gone with a streaming option. The Colts D have still been doing better in these. Yes,
the Colts defense, you don't sit them. There's a couple defenses every year that you're going to be like, okay, this year we know what this defense is. They get sacks. I play in a league where we get rewarded for like TFLs and 3 and outs and stuff like that too. So like when you're just an actual good NFL defense, you're much better than like a defense that randomly gets a pick 6.
Yeah, no, fully. Talking about them, like, them, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Bucs,
like, especially with their schedule, are going to be one of the best defenses.
Yeah,
going forward.
Absolutely. You talked about them as a sleeper on the draft guide.
I did.
Little nudge there. Up 20 with Cook running tonight. Opponent has Jimmy Graham and Allen Robinson. 8-2, boys.
Yeah, there's no way you're losing with Dalvin Cook tonight.
Yeah. You guys watch Bussin' the Boys? It's Taylor Lewan's podcast. I got to check it out then, because I fucking love Taylor Lewan, Michigan boy himself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really love Taylor Lewan. I'm neutral about Taylor Lewan.
I love that guy. He's hilarious. Jefferson's highest right now was 39, but against
low-key though, a great podcast. I've been listening to I Am Athlete. Have you ever heard that?
Haven't. Who's
Brandon Marshall, Ocho Cinco.
Oh yeah, I've checked it out.
Yeah, it's dope. It's a good show.
Yeah, I've checked it out a couple times. Pretty sick. I don't think I can win. Luckily, the guy who is second in my division is on track to lose. So I have. Yeah, there you go. Guys, what are your thoughts on McCaffrey? I lost once, but I'm still concerned. If you're 9-1, you just hold. Yeah,
I wouldn't be concerned about McCaffrey if you're 9-1.
Again, like to me, for the record, when he is healthy, I love Kamara and I love Dalvin Cook. McCaffrey is RB1. When McCaffrey is healthy, McCaffrey is RB1. Obviously,
McCaffrey's floor is like 9 receptions.
It's crazy. Like we're seeing fucking Mike Davis be a low end RB1, not even being remotely the same talent that Christian McCaffrey is. Like Christian McCaffrey on a week-to-week basis, if he plays, he's going to be close to 100 rushing yards. He's going to be close to 100 receiving yards. He's going to have, as you mentioned, probably 9+ receptions. And he's always a threat to score because, again, when he plays, it seems like he's always getting 2-3 touchdowns. Like, it's insane what this guy does. On a per-game basis this year, he's basically giving 30 a game. I know it's only in 3 games, but that upside has been showing for the past.
He didn't have easy matchups either in those 3 games that he played. He played Tampa. He played, I think he played another difficult matchup too. He played who did he just play against?
I can't remember off my head. It was tough team. Chiefs.
The Chiefs are actually a pretty tough team against, like as a defense, they're pretty tough. And like McCaffrey he's the whole package. Like he is 100% of the snaps. He's fucking so many receptions, all the goal line work, so much rushing volume. He's super talented. Like you can't get any better than Christian McCaffrey as a fantasy asset. So if you're 9-1 right now and you can handle going 1-2 over the next 3 weeks, you'll still be 10 and 3, and you probably still have a bye or whatever in your league, and you'll have Christian McCaffrey coming in for the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Should I trade away Michael Thomas even after Winston as a quarterback? I would want to know the type of value. Now,
if someone's going to overreact and think that Winston's like some huge upgrade and they're willing to give you Stephon Diggs, would you take Stephon Diggs over Michael Thomas the rest of the season? Yeah?
Yes. Stephon Diggs is the only receiver in fantasy football with 10 plus PPR points in every single game.
That's wild. Like, because I don't think anyone's going to give you Adams or Hopkins or Metcalf.
No. Yeah, I mean, if it's a PPR, maybe you can convince someone about Metcalf, but even if, like,
I think, to be honest, I think Michael Thomas is right behind that, like, him and Julio Jones and maybe a couple other guys are right behind, like, I would say him, Julio Jones, Keenan Allen are kind of all in the same area, and, like, Diggs, Metcalf, Adams, Hopkins, and, like, Tyreek are, like, above them.
Yeah. Yeah, where would you put Ridley when he's back? Because like he showed on a per game basis, he's probably in that tier 1. But because he got hurt, maybe you have him closer to the tier 2. Like he's in the gray area.
He's like fringe top 10. I would say he's probably between 9 and like 12.
Yeah, I agree. Like I'd probably take him right after like the Diggs and the Keenan Allens of the world.
Yeah.
Jay Chiven says Bears baby gonna stop Dalvin Cook and money, or somebody is gonna have to show up. When the Cousins passes, they lose. Enjoy the game, guys. Good old-fashioned Midwest showdown. Big D. Yeah, let's go Bears. I mean, just want the Vikings to be mad so they can beat us next week.
A big game at a Cordero Patterson for a couple reasons. One, I have him in my MVP slot in my FanDuel lineup, and I want to see it happen because it'd be hilarious. And two, the guy who's first place in my league right now talks a lot of shit, even though he basically auto-drafted his team. Not actually, but he's like, he doesn't watch football very much, and he's like, He just happened to draft like great players like Stephon Diggs and like Robbie Anderson in like the 11th round. Like he doesn't know shit, and he just drafted these like good players, and he hasn't made like any roster moves, and he's just gotten so like he has Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb got hurt, like he's just gotten so lucky, and he needs Cordero Patterson to score less than 11 points tonight to win. And if he loses, then he'll be tied with me for second. And
what's your record?
My record's 6-4 after this week, but I have like 100 more points for than the other 3 teams that are 6-4.
It's crazy right now because I'm all.
I also should be 8-2 because of my 2 bad losses.
So the first place team in my league is going to be 9-1 after this week. After that, I am second at 6-4, tied with the third place team who's 6-4. But because I beat them head to head, I have the tiebreaker. And then after that, I shit you not, probably like 5 or 6 teams are 5-5. Like it's crazy. I play the 9-1 team next week. He's missing Stephon Diggs, and I'm getting Julio Jones added to my lineup. So like if I can beat him, by the way, Kamara's playing against the Falcons, who he always dominates.
Yeah.
Like if I beat him, that throws a huge wrench into the whole playoff push in general.
Oh, dude, I have such a conflicting situation right now in our redraft league, our FSC league. I need Dalvin Cook to score less than 20 points to win that matchup, and then I'll be firmly entrenched in second place.
Yeah.
Behind Mikey somehow. Mikey's
10-0.
He's 10-0. And then in my school league, who my team of all my fantasy teams, my school league's team is by far the best. Like I got Metcalf, Dalvin Cook, Davante Adams, Justin Herbert. I got like my team is stacked. That's crazy. Like 5 deep at receiver. Like I have Metcalf, Davante Adams, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Brandon Cooks. Like it's ridiculous how good my team is. I have DeAndre Swift, Antonio Gibson, J.K. Dobbins on my bench, Austin Eckler on IR. Team's ridiculous. Anyway, in that league, I need Dalvin Cook to score 23 points to remain in first place.
Interesting. Yeah. Talking about that real quick. Mikey's 10-0. After him in our league, somehow I am like 6-4 right now, and I've missed Christian McCaffrey all year.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be 7-3 after this week if Dalvin Cook scores less than 30 or less than 20, And I've been missing Austin Eckler this whole year. I started Jonathan Taylor and fucking JD McKissick as my running backs the last couple of weeks.
Dude, I think this week I was starting like Wayne Gallman and someone like and it produced. I think it was Wayne Gallman, like Jerick McKinnon. Like I think I started Madison in the stretch. Like it's. I think
I dropped my fab on or not dropped my fab, but I think I picked up Salvan Ahmed before this week.
Yeah, I was gonna pick him up,
which is kind of a snag.
Yeah, you sniped that from me. Kakamon, yes, Thursday Night Football sucks. Big facts. Is Hines the Colts RB a good waiver wire?
Absolutely not. Such
biggest clickbait of the week. Instead of going for him, you go and you pick up Salvan Ahmed from the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, okay, we'll talk about him. Salvan Ahmed. We haven't talked about him yet. So Salvan Ahmed, I tweeted out his usage from yesterday, and from this year's perspective, he had 44 out of 58 snaps, which is 76%. That is workhorse volume in terms of the snap share. 22 touches, 21 of them carries, and it's not like he's totally uninvolved in the passing game because he ran 15 of the 23 running back routes. And get this, 8 out of 8 running back red zone touches. So from a coaching perspective, they don't give a shit who the running back is. They're going to give whatever guy they like all the work, whether it's Myles Gaskin, who's a former 7th round pick, or Salvan Ahmed, who's an undrafted free agent, and frankly, not all that good either.
No. He looked okay. I will say,
from a dynasty perspective, whichever running back lands in Miami is the 101, in my opinion. I think they're the 101. I think if it's Harris, if it's Travis Etienne, if it's Chuba Hubbard, I don't care who it is. They're the 101.
Dude, even Kenneth Gainwell, like
he's not playing this year, right?
No, but he Memphis running back. He actually out-touched Antonio Gibson in college.
Yeah. Like whoever lands there is going to get all the work. Assuming that they like him the most. And I'd imagine if they draft any of those guys, they're going to be 1st or 2nd round picks. So
to be fair,
they like them.
I will say, to be fair, in a super flex, I think they'd be the 2 or the 3.
Oh yeah,
Lawrence is going to be the 1 regardless.
Prospect,
and if Fields even goes to like Jacksonville, I'd probably take him.
I wouldn't take. I don't really care where Fields goes. If
really?
If Travis Etienne is a Miami Dolphin, I would take him over Lawrence.
Interesting. That's hot. That's hot take. Then again, Lawrence and the New York Jets, I can kind of see there, but yeah. Can Godwin be a top 12 receiver with their easy schedule?
Yes, he can. Yeah. Especially if we got some breaking news on Antonio Brown. He threw a bike at someone or broke a security camera or something like that.
The fuck is that wrong?
Could the league suspend him? Could they put him on the exempt list? He's on probation, so I mean,
what the fuck is wrong with that guy?
Bad shit, he's gonna get cut, or he's like one of those things I just mentioned. They're gonna happen, and then Godwin's right back to being a top 12 receiver anyway.
So yeah, if you have a league that's not really invested into the news around the NFL world, and they see Antonio Brown had a couple good games, understand the name, like you can sell high on him right now.
Yeah,
realistically, probably not overall, but on some weeks. Are you referring to Chris McCaffrey?
Not sure exactly.
Oh, he's talking. I think he's answering Bilal's question.
Oh, okay.
Thoughts Gibson rest of the year. Sell high. My other running backs are Mixon, Robinson, Jacobs, Edmonds, and Bernard. I mean, it depends.
It depends what your other needs are. If you need receivers right now, because it looks like you're probably fine at running back. Because between the 2 Bengals guys, you have one backfield lockdown. Then you have Robinson and Jacobs and Edmonds for some upside. So you probably don't really need Antonio Gibson. I always like to have depth, especially going into the playoffs. If Jacobs misses a couple games or something, you'll need a guy like Antonio Gibson. But if you're weak at receiver, maybe you only have like AJ Brown and like a bunch of slappies after that or something, and you wanted to flip Antonio Gibson for, I don't know, I'm trying to think of someone off the top of my head.
Terry McLaurin?
Terry McLaurin, yeah, that's a good name. If you wanted to try and flip him for someone like that, if you need help at receiver, or if you wanted, maybe your team's loaded all around, you're in like a 10-teamer and you wanted to flip Gibson for Darren Waller, I wouldn't, or even Travis Kelce or something like that, if someone was willing to do that, if you wanted to package Gibson with someone.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, either way, I'm okay with trading Gibson given your current running back situation.
Yeah, no, I fully agree there. Spicy House says, finally got Chubb back, but my team just couldn't perform this week. Yeah, that's unlucky there.
Yeah, James Connor's been a little bad lately.
He's a buy low for me then. Like if someone's willing to buy low or sell him low, if that's the case, like he's still a bell cow running back on a good team. He's underperforming recently, but realistically, I do think that they're going to regress in terms of the passing volume back to the mean. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger been chucking the ball all over the fucking yard these last couple of weeks. I do think that's going to keep going down as they try to preserve going into the playoffs. And if that's the case, they're just going to feed Conor down the stretch. Like, you do not want Ben throwing the ball 40 plus times a game as a 9-0 team going into the playoffs, because that guy coming off of elbow surgery, if he's asked to burden that much of a load down the stretch, he is going to burn out. He's going to burn out. And ultimately the Steelers, who I don't want to like take shots at Steelers fans, but they've kind of been a perennial disappointment in the playoffs, if you will. I don't think you want Big Ben really burnt out by that type of time in the season. So they should have, if they win their next 2 games, they should have the division basically locked down, considering that the Ravens did lose to the Patriots last night. Again, the Ravens are currently 6-3. The Steelers are 9-0 right now. So they can get up to 11-0, 11-1 area. Like, they should have the division almost locked up at that point. So
I think they got it locked up now.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they're the top team in the AFC on a records basis. Now, if you're talking about a team that I think is going to beat them in the playoffs, I think the Chiefs are the best overall team in the league right now. But talking about overall, record-wise, schedule-wise, it's just smart for the Steelers to really take care of Big Ben down the stretch. So, again, that could affect passing weapons. Like, we could see even Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju down the stretch kind of get a little bit more.
I'm not worried about Claypool down the stretch.
Really, yeah?
No.
He's the one you're absolutely secured with?
Yeah, I am.
So how would you rank the Steelers receivers? Because they're pretty close overall in value.
But they're all very close, but I think Juju's last.
Really, yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's mostly because I'm a ceiling guy. I like, especially out of receivers, I love ceiling players. I don't like, not that Juju Smith-Schuster's Golden Tate, but like, I don't like guys that are just floor plays. I like guys that have ceilings, and Chase Claypool, we've obviously seen his ceiling. Deontay Johnson, we've seen his ceiling too, because he gets a lot of targets and he gets better quality targets than Juju Smith-Schuster does. So absolutely. I don't see a world where Juju Smith-Schuster drops a 25-point game unless he has 2 touchdowns, right? So
speaking of, like, I know this is random out there, but I guess it does fit into the narrative of this upcoming game on Monday night. But man, something's telling me I am going to absolutely love Darnell Mooney going into the next season. Like, love him. Like what I was hyping up Deontay Johnson to be in the summer, I can see that being similar to what I'm feeling about Darnell Mooney, because I'm
pretty sure I'm not going to own a single receiver on a fantasy team next year that is under the age that is over the age of 25.
Oh,
between next year's rookies, between the second year receivers or current rookies this year, and even the third year guys like McLaurin and AJ Brown and those guys, like, I'm literally not going to own a single share of like DeAndre Hopkins or someone like that's starting to age.
Have you know what's a big philosophy that I've learned in Dynasty this year, especially? These rookie running backs, it seems like, are always going to be at their highest value rate on the draft season.
Yeah.
And those rookie receivers are going to be at their absolute cheapest. Like, imagine like just you had the 101.
I feel like part of that's a little biased just because how good the receiver class was this year and last year, and it will be again this coming year. But and how much this current rookie running back class is disappointed, and how bad the previous one was, because the Miles Sanders, Montgomery Jacobs one wasn't all that good, and like, this year's just disappointed, to be honest.
You probably, like, if you had the 101, you probably could have swindled. Like, if someone was like wanted to trade up, you probably could have swindled.
I don't want to say what I traded the 101 away for and get faded.
No, I know what you traded it for.
I traded it for Deebo Samuel and Kerryon Johnson like a week before the draft. And then the Lions drafted DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. I was going to say, because you probably could have swindled for the 101, possibly like the 105, the 108 in a second. Imagine you made that type of deal. You locked up like DeAndre Swift at the 105, CeeDee Lamb at the 108, and then like T. Higgins in the second round. Like,
that would have been robbery for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah. Or Jonathan Taylor. Like, if you were to redraft the 2021 rookie draft right now, or 2020 rookie draft right now,
Swift and Dobbins would probably be the only running backs in the top five.
Yeah. Absolutely. T. Higgins would be in the first round. Claypool would probably be in the first round. Like, it's crazy. Like, all right, let's get into some more questions. Fuller, Godwin, Cup, Rager, Higgins on IR. Streaming quarterback, have Tua right now. Rate my team. Let me go through. So your receivers look pretty solid in my opinion. Assuming that's Aaron Jones.
Swift. I think you're running back. You're pretty solid. I'd probably try and trade someone.
Yeah, I'd probably say you have a bunch of really good wide receiver twos without having a solidified one, maybe, like if you will. You don't have like an alpha of the room, but you have a really good collective core. I would say, depending on like the league size, assuming it's a 12 team, if it's a 10 team, probably a
Swift
little bit
breaking
lower.
out really fucking helps you. That's definitely very helpful.
I'd probably say like in a 12 team, that's a good 8.5 or 9. In a 10 team, I'd probably say that's about an 8. So I really like that team. I think you're definitely in position, like given your record. I don't know what your record is, but I definitely think you can make a play in the postseason. Yeah, I feel that. Whoops. You should be fine with Thielen though. 6.5 points is not too hard for him. Can Mark Andrews be a top 3 tight end rest of the season with Boyle being done? First of all, Boyle going out for that team,
I don't think it really affects Mark Andrews that much.
I was about to say that. Doesn't necessarily affect Andrews' target total because the snaps that Boyle was getting was more so as an inline blocker. Now, could Mark Andrews help with more of the burden that they're going to have in terms of blocking? I can maybe see that, but I think top 5 tight end, absolutely. I think to me, he's more so in the fringe range. By the way, the top 2, we already know, Kelsey and Waller. He's in the range for me with like the Hawkinsons, the Gronkowskis. That's probably where I would have Mark Andrews. Maybe he's heading that group. So if you want to consider that top 3, so be it. But I think there's a clear gap after the Waller and Kelsey, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I talked about Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson as trade targets 2 weeks ago. Saying that after the Indianapolis game, which at the time was the next game that they were playing, they had a really easy schedule for the rest of the season. And this is basically what has happened. They have the Patriots, who they just played, the Titans, who ranked 20th in DVOA, the Cowboys, who ranked 24th in pass defense DVOA, the Browns, who ranked 19th, the Jags, who ranked dead last, and the Giants, who ranked 18th. So none of those matchups are bad, basically. And over the course of Mark Andrews' bad stretch that he had in the middle of the season, most of those matchups were poor matchups. Like he wasn't expected to perform super highly in that. Obviously, he has a lower floor than he did last year because his floor was like super high. But I still think he is a top 5 tight end rest of season. I think him and Gronkowski are neck and neck at tight end 4.
Absolutely, and they're so similar in terms of usage, in terms of like play style.
How they're going to be good on a week. Like if Gronkowski scores a touchdown, he's going to be great. If Mark Andrews scores a touchdown, it's going to be great. It's basically how it goes. Andrews getting 9 targets in heavy rain. If this wasn't heavy rain, I bet he would have had an awesome game.
Absolutely. Can I start Higgins over either Kupp, Fuller, Godwin? Seems risky even with Higgins performing like he is. I would start him over Kupp.
I would start him over Kupp too.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods had the easiest matchup they could have possibly had, and kind of disappointed. So
yeah, I mean, let's talk about Jared Goff.
11 points.
Yeah, damn.
Like I saw Mike Tagliere tweet this out earlier today. He was like, the Seahawks passing defense. I think it was the Buccaneers last year who allowed the most fantasy points to receivers, mainly the first half of the season when we had Hargreaves and Stewart. But we allowed like 675 PPR points to receivers. The Seahawks are on pace for like over 950 right now. And Kupp and Woods combined for like 15 points.
So AKA, if you have a receiver going up against the Seattle defense, you start them. But for whatever reason, Woods and Kupp,
it's a low pass. Part of it is because
I did mention
the ball to the goal line. Like they got the ball to the goal line every single play. That's why Goff disappointed, was because they just ran it in, all the touchdowns. And plus, it's just not a high passing volume offense, right? Like the Rams are not passing the ball very often.
Let's talk about the backfield, because I did mention going into this game that I did think that although it's a prime cake matchup against the pass for the Rams, their true identity is in the ground game. And what we saw is they are going to use all 3 running backs together. There's no clear
if you have Darrell Henderson.
I mean, if you have Cam Akers, you're
probably
still sucks. It sucks, but like you thought he was useless 2 weeks ago.
He's better than useless, but I still don't think he's startable.
Yeah, that's fair. I would still like to stash him down the stretch because
he's great in case Henderson gets hurt again. Because if Henderson gets hurt again, he's going to be awesome.
But if you are a Darrell Henderson owner, like your former, what he was, a top 15 running back at some point, he's more so a touchdown dependent RB3 in my opinion.
I don't know if he's an RB3 because the running back landscape is so dog shit, but I think he's closer to 24 than he is to 15, which I thought going into this week, if you said, is Darrell Henderson a top 15 running back, I'd probably be like, yeah, pretty close. Like he's right on that borderline. I think he's a little bit closer to the RB 20 to 24 range now.
Yeah, no, I fully agree there. That sucks for that situation. I'm 7-3 in an 8-man league. I have Wilson, Kamara, CMC, Lockett, Boyd, Waller, AJ Brown, Steelers D, and Lutz. I have Mike Davis on the bench. I am 2 games over the next guy. Should I feel comfortable keeping CMC? Absolutely, because you have Mike Davis on the bench.
8-man league too. 8 or 10 team leagues. Studs matter. Studs are how you win. And you, by the looks of your team, you have Russell Wilson, Alvin Kamara, Darren Waller, AJ Brown, Tyler Lockett. Like, you got some studs. And CMC, when he comes back, is a stud. And you have Mike Davis to deal with that for now too. So you're sitting pretty right now. You definitely have a shot at the championship.
The only thing I would possibly consider,
I don't know how you got Kamara and CMC though.
Yeah, that's crazy for the record. Like maybe he got it when Kamara was actually, even if like how did I don't know, maybe he traded for one of them.
Is my question.
It's crazy. It's like me and Scott Stoss and Zeke.
Yeah, it's I can't. You're still not going to win that league too, which is the fucked up part.
Yeah, because half my team got hurt.
You have one quarterback, dude. If you had Dak still, your quarterback situation.
Oh, I know. Like Kyler, I'm 8-2 right now with Kyler just carrying. Like
I started Hunter Renfrow in my super flex this week.
I started John Brown and like Chris Conley. Like the Big Ben hurt this week. Oh yeah, he balled out. I need A-Rob to get 17. Depending on the league format, like if it's a full PPR, I think he can get that for you, especially in that matchup.
That Big Ben for us, probably like her. Probably Goff, maybe. I would have told you. I probably would have told you to start Goff over Big Ben.
I would have said Big Ben to be fair, but
I would have been close. I think I would have said Goff though.
I had Ben at 9, so even I was sleeping on him this week. He looked excellent.
Yeah.
Should I save my players and roll into the playoffs or make a huge trade or a package trade him for who? So his running backs: Chubb, Conor, Eckler, Dobbins, AJ Brown. I'd probably hold as is. Maybe you can flip because Henry had a decent game. Finally, Hunter Henry had a decent game.
I don't really see many pieces that I'm wanting to get rid of, to be honest. Maybe if you wanted to, the only guy that concerns me on your team that you're really, really relying on right now is James Conner. So if you wanted to try and package Hunter Henry and James Conner for
James Robinson,
Josh Jacobs, maybe even Miles Sanders. Like, I think I would prefer all those guys over James Conner and Hunter Henry. To me, with you having Gronkowski, I don't really care letting Hunter Henry go. He's kind of just a throw in that trade.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, plus you have Eckler coming back. If you were able to turn Chubb into Sanders, and then you also have Eckler coming back, you have 3 top 8 running backs who are guaranteed volume every single week with Chubb, Sanders, and Eckler. So
yeah, no, I fully agree. If I win, I'm 7-3 at top of division with Carson, Mostert, Drake, Debo, and Lazard injured. Should I try to trade for CMC, MT? I'd want to know the type of package you'd have to give up for either of those guys. Like realistically, again at 7-3.
Okay, so call me crazy, but I think Raheem Mostert is going to be a top 8 running back when he comes back. I think
agree.
He's going to be incredible when he comes because JaMychal Hasty's gone. He's out for the season now, right?
Yeah.
He broke his collarbone or something. So Jerick McKinnon is ineffective on the ground. He always has been. It's Jerick McKinnon and nobody else right now in that backfield. Once Tevin Coleman comes back, Tevin Coleman sucks ass too. So like when Raheem Mostert comes back, that's all that groundwork is his.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I absolutely love
and
Raheem Mostert.
He's going to be back after the bye.
Yeah. Thoughts on the rookie running back, Salvan Ahmed. I literally picked him up at 2:30 p.m. You got a steal. We talked about it. We talked about it earlier. I mean, 76% of the snaps, 23, 24 touches he had. I mean, he looked good. And this ultimately tells me that the Dolphins coaching staff is basically like whoever is the main running back that we trust for this week, we are going to ride them into the sunset. We saw it with Myles Gaskin. Myles Gaskin is now out. Matt Breida's banged up. They just released Jordan Howard. Like Salvan Ahmed has got such a role on this team for the time being, especially until Myles Gaskin comes back. If you need spot starts right now, spot wins right now, I think he can give you RB2, RB3 type value for the short term.
Especially with them cutting Jordan Howard too.
Yes. And that's absolutely crucial at this time of period. Again,
I don't know why they would cut Jordan Howard now. I understand it's like, okay, you don't want him on your team anymore. He's clearly not contributing, but with Gaskin hurt, you might as well keep him for another couple of weeks and then cut him. But absolutely, the Dolphins felt the need to cut him now. So
yeah, that's crazy. I'm 10-0 in my second league and 8-2 in my first league. Let's go. Yeah. That's the league where he was starting either Kamara or Chubb.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you're 10-0 in that league. Jesus,
man, stacked. I want to hear you. You got to leave down how you got that team because that.
Yeah, are you playing? Crazy. Are you playing in a league with like 12 kickers or something?
I think my Raiders can upset the Chiefs again at home. I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they've looked
I
good
would.
the last
I
few
don't
weeks.
think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna sweep the Chiefs because they
I
already
mean,
beat them once.
I don't think they're gonna win, but would it shock me if they did? It would probably still shock me, but like,
Yeah.
do I think they have a chance? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. My friends are Raiders fans, so I've been messing around with them. But think of it like this: in our preseason bet show, for a joke, I took the Raiders to win that division. If they beat the Chiefs this week, they are 1 game back with a 2-0 record against the Chiefs this year. If they tie on record by the end of the year, the Raiders will win the division, which is crazy to think about. And that would net me so many fucking points in our little system.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I hate to tell you this, but if Alvin Kamara wins Offensive Player of the Year, it's curtains on that. Because if I hit that bet, that's like that was like 85-1 odds.
Mike Tomlin was a nice one for me too.
Huh? Oh yeah, Mike Tomlin as a Coach of the Year, he's probably going to win it. So.
And if the Dolphins win the division, I have them.
Antoine Winfield Jr. as Defensive Rookie of the Year has a chance for me too, which was
it's either going to be him or Chase Young
or something like that.
It's either going to be him or Young. And I was going to say too, I talked about Dolphins going from worst to first. They're 1 game back in the division lead right now. Like
I talked about the Cardinals going worst to first.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
it's fun. Playoffs. I got a 99% to get the 1 seed. Wow. Okay, that's a good percentage. How'd you get the math there?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Oh, did we talk about Bilal's thing here?
Oh, fuck. My bad.
Okay, so what we're going to do at the end of the season is me and Danny did a My Guys episode going into the season talking about who we loved. Oh, we're going to hold ourselves accountable for that because we got some bad ones. Some of them are turning around and stuff like that with DeAndre Swift suddenly kind of breaking out. But obviously, if you drafted him, he probably hurt you for a while. But we can include some rankings and stuff like that going into the season, maybe like the top 5 worst and top 5 best like calls that we had at each position or something like that. We'll definitely be doing something right as the season ends, talking about like lessons that we learned from fantasy this year, all that kind of stuff, coaching, all that kind of stuff. We'll definitely be going through stuff that you guys want to see us talk about and hold ourselves accountable because we love being wrong.
Does Davante Adams undisputed wide receiver 1 count?
We were both had him as our wide receiver 1. I came around, so
hey, there you go. Now I still remember like it clicked in my head, like literally like right as the offseason started. Everybody was saying empty. I'm like, no, it's going to be Davante this year. But we'll talk about it. I also had some absolutely disgusting misses as well.
I think one big hit for me in terms of like everyone was against me on this. No one believed me. Lucas was adamantly against me on this. I remember. No, not AJ Brown. It was Josh Jacobs catching a lot of passes.
There you go.
And he had more. I saw Nick tweet this out today. He said Jacobs has more receptions in 2020 than James Conner, Kareem Hunt, and Dalvin Cook.
There you go. Yeah, I mean your team's really solid there. Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Kelsey, Hopkins. Oh my God. Yeah, you're chilling. Ruggs is due for another breakout. Hopefully, I mean that guy's got the talent.
Ruggs is my guy, man. I need Ruggs to. That's a 14-team league. Dude. You have a 99% chance to win the championship, not just make the playoffs.
For real. I thought that was like a 10-team league, and then you said, okay, well played. I got 139.8 fantasy points for both my leags. I mean,
nice.
Yeah,
exactly. Both the same number.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. Do you guys think Jacobs is to sell high, or will he keep producing? I think he's an RB1. I mean, like,
yeah, his schedule, he's gotten through the bad part. Like, it gets easier now.
Absolutely, I fully agree there. How am I the only person who liked the vid? Like up the live stream.
Oh, yeah, that is rude. That is rude.
I'm hurt. If you guys are watching the live stream, if you're enjoying us rant on about our own football teams, about our fantasy football teams, about the overall landscape of football
teams. I told you the Bucks were going to lambaste the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, you called it. And for the record, hopefully the Bears do rout the Vikings this week, so the Vikings can take it up on my Cowboys next week because we're on #TeamTank. I brought this up in our group chat. I'll let the viewers know as well. But it sickens me. Like, it's disgusting to me to think, like, are the Cowboys low-key, like, the favorites rest of the year for that division? Have you seen the schedules comparatively to all the
Your
teams?
division makes me sad.
I posted the schedules for each of the teams compared to the Giants and
the Giants are a better team than you.
Absolutely. At
Giants
this current point, absolutely
better than the Eagles too.
They are. They beat them, and I called that in that was my upset of the week. I think I got all my upsets right.
I whiffed on mine, didn't I? Didn't
No,
I call
you picked you picked the
I
Niners
picked the
over
Texans, right?
You picked the Texans. You also picked the Niners over the Saints. It's okay. Wait, what were our picks for the players? You wrote them down, right?
No, but I remember them. No, do I remember them?
Oh, it was you had Dobbins. I had Duke
And
Johnson.
Dobbins. Okay, so I lost. Whoever you had Dobbins against.
And I had
Tremaine Pope. You lost, or I lost. I mean,
and you had Jasicki, and I had Jimmy Graham. So Jasicki had an okay game.
Sucked.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
he had like 3 for 50 or something.
Yeah, let me check. Hold on. I'm pretty sure he sucked though.
Oh, okay. All right. I have a 9-6 lead right now. Depending on how Jimmy Graham does to 9, could take it to 10. You'd love to see it.
2 for 40.
Okay.
I
mean, if he catches 3 passes, hopefully it's over. But
yeah.
Here's my team, non-PPR. By the way, like up the live stream, guys. I forgot to say that. Here's my team, non-PPR 10 team. Kyler Murray, Sanders, Joe Mixon / Gio Bernard, Julio, Keenan, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs. Yeah, that's definitely a very solid team overall there.
Okay,
could you guys help me? Okay. So constructing a trade for either Aaron Jones or King Henry. Out of those two, I personally prefer Henry because I think he's safer, if you will, and his schedule down the stretch is better.
Mixon Bernard is the one I'm looking at.
Yeah, if you can package like a Mixon Bernard.
Okay, you have Allen Robinson as your notable bench. I'd have to know if you have anyone else that's remotely solid. Like if you have T. Higgins on your bench or something too, and you could go. Actually, I guess that's a lot of Bengals, but if you have Brandon Ayuk on your bench and you have Joe Mixon, Gio Bernard, and Brandon Ayuk, maybe it would probably, actually, to be honest, to get Derrick Henry, probably take Joe Mixon, Gio Bernard, Allen Robinson. It's probably what you'd have to give him.
I agree. To be honest, studs win championships, especially.
It's a 10-team league. It's studs win championships.
I wouldn't mind it. I want to know your bench.
Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs for the playoffs if you were to pull, and Julio Jones and Keenan Allen. Yeah,
that would be stacked. Let me know or let us know what your other bench pieces are. I'd be interested to see that.
I'd imagine you might be able to get Aaron Jones with Joe Mixon, Gio Bernard, and then like a bench piece. But I want to go for Henry if I'm you, because Derrick Henry has the playoff schedule to win a championship. So
we're supposed to ignore this, but you know what? We'll hype you up, Spicy Hot. Go make it happen. Package Henry and Conor for Miles Sanders or Jacobs and Robinson. Wait, what? Oh, Hunter Henry. Okay. I thought that was Derrick Henry for a second. Yeah, we know. We told you.
That was the previous question up there.
Yeah. Good. Perfect. Yeah. Hunter Henry and Conor for one of those. Absolutely. Go screenshot that. You have our blessing. James Conner has been frustrating the last few weeks. Is it time to give up on him and trade him? I would want to know the value, because at this point, I feel like people are going to try to lowball on him, maybe get him for a high NRB2, low NRB1 type price.
Yeah, we're gonna differ on this. Who would you rather have rest of the season? Do you know who I'm going to say?
Who?
James Conner and DeAndre Swift. I'd rather have DeAndre Swift. Deadass. Like, I'm not even kidding.
I agree.
I know that's a huge overreaction because we've only see it 1 week with DeAndre Swift. I want to look at his schedule real quick. I know the Steelers.
It's beautiful.
Is it?
It is beautiful. It is one of the best schedules left. Let me read it off for you, okay? So, by the way, you know how I was high on DeAndre Swift all fucking summer? Well, in this one keeper league with a rookie keeper that I'm in with my home league.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, it's really.
It's 2 keepers with a 1 rookie keeper, right? So I was set on taking DeAndre Swift at the turn. Wasn't even think about it. Then last second, I'm like, you know what? I have a lot of exposure to DeAndre Swift. Let me mix it up. I took Cam Akers.
Oof.
Cam Akers at the 1-2 turn to keep him as a rookie and pass on DeAndre Swift. And the guy who ended up getting DeAndre Swift looks like the best team in the league. And his keepers are going to end up being Nick Chubb, Davante Adams, and DeAndre Swift.
Not great, Bob.
Yeah. Here, let me say it for the viewers real quick. DeAndre Swift's rest of season schedule. Okay, you guys ready? All right. So next week he plays against the Carolina Panthers in their 29th ranked run defense. Houston Texans, 3rd worst. Chicago Bears, tough matchup in between, but I mean, it's not a death sentence. It's for a guy who can catch passes. Week 14-15 plays against the Packers, 2nd worst, and Tennessee Titans, bottom 10, and finishes up against the Bucks. Tough on paper.
You missed the Texans. He plays the Texans too.
Oh no, I talked about the Texans, third worst. So he basically plays the 29th, 30th, and 31st ranked run defenses in that stretch. I know the matchup or championship week matchup against the Bucks is tough, but he's still
aren't as bad of a run defense as they were with Vea.
Agreed. And I was also going to say, Yeah, Josh, I see. I'll get to you. It's still a receiving back who we've seen receiving back still be able to put up productive days against the Bucks defense.
Alvin
So,
Kamara last week or
yeah,
2 weeks ago. Or sorry, last week, Alvin Kamara in a bad rushing matchup against San Francisco dropped 33 points.
Absolutely.
8 carries. What do you have? 8 carries for 15 yards, and he dropped 33 points.
Yeah, literally. Look at that. 2nd through 6th or 6-4. Top 6 make playoffs with 3 weeks ago, and he's 9-1. So he's chilling.
Oh yeah, dude, you are chilling, dude. You are chilling.
Fellas, who do y'all think Jalen Ramsey will shadow?
Jalen Ramsey does not shadow. They have not used him like that one time this year. So, actually, no, sorry. I think they have used him once. Allen Robinson was the only time they used him like that. But I'd imagine whatever PFF says is the primary matchup is who he's going to be on most of the time, but it's not set in stone. If it says Jalen Ramsey is going to be on Mike Evans, which is probably what's going to say, it's not going to be 100% of his routes are on Mike Evans. It's going to probably be like 60%.
Yeah, for sure. I have A-Rob and
Mike Evans finally getting some targets. Last week, I think he had 12 targets, which is freaking helpful as hell.
I think it's definitely possible. Heck, A-Rob may honestly be able to do that on his own.
In PPR, it's definitely more possible.
Like I can see Allen Robinson have like
Foles is kind of. I stacked my DFS lineup: 4 Bears, 1 Viking. I went with the 4-1 comp, but composition. But I think the Vikings defense could very easily have a couple big plays in this one, maybe a couple interceptions or. Also,
could we talking about like an Allen Robinson 9 for 130 and a touchdown type of day? I can absolutely see that from him. Yeah. Okay, Javon says Kyler Murray, Nick Chubb. Like how? Drop your backup defense and kicker. Because
you have Justin Tucker.
You don't need them.
And the Steelers defense. You don't need a backup defense or kicker.
And this is the guy I was talking about who has maybe.
Did he just happen to be in here while you were talking about that?
Absolutely. And he heard me say he's probably got the best team in the league. And I'll stand by that, Josh. Your team is very strong. Again, I've said it multiple times with my trade to acquire Julio for the rental. I think the league's going to come down to one of me, you, or Marco and Paul. I honestly think those are the top 4 teams rest of the season.
Yeah, my home league, it's a 3-man race right now too.
Yeah,
it's me, and then the 2 other guys.
Not to discredit anybody else because the league is still wide open and anything can happen these last few weeks. Heck, Josh is 5-5 right now. Can miss the playoffs due to tiebreakers because he started 1-5. His whole team was hurt. Now he's 5-5. He's got Davante Adams going, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, like DJ Moore, like Darren Waller. His team's really hitting stride right now. I mean, you can get that, man. If you sneak into the playoffs, I definitely don't want to play you because that's a tough looking team. You're just lucky that I let you get Swift because I decided to differ from my own philosophy. Don't do that, by the way. And yeah, I could have been the one.
Diversifying the revenue only applies in round 1 through 3, in my opinion.
That's fair. I mean,
to be fair, diversify as in like don't pick the same players in every league. Do that rounds 1 to 3. If there's a guy in the 7th round that I love and I think is going to break out, I will pick him in every league because it's a 7th round pick.
That's fair. Again, the reason why he was even there is because it's still keeper league. So it technically was the first, 2nd round turn, which is why I did diversify. Now, me diversifying to Cam Akers didn't pay off.
Not great.
Pay off. But yeah, I'm going to offer Conor and Claypool for Swift. LOL.
He won't do Conor straight up for Swift?
I wouldn't give Claypool as well there.
I don't think I'd give up Claypool. If you can give up maybe a bit of a lesser receiver if he needs something, but I would rather have Swift than Conor rest of the season.
Same. Spencer, here's my other bench. Dobbins, Mike Williams, Duke Johnson, Marquise Brown, Hooper, but I can't trade any of them since they are underperforming. Should I drop any of these guys?
Okay, so this is he talked about his notable bench, asking about King Henry and Aaron Jones. I don't think you're going to be able to like package Dobbins and Mixon to get Aaron Jones. I mean, you might be able to, but I don't think someone's going to do that. So I think I wouldn't drop any of these guys unless I'd have to know who's on your waiver wire. But Marquise Brown is the guy I would drop if someone on your waiver wire is like much better than Marquise Brown, which there are good chances they are because Marquise Brown sucked.
And with Darren Waller at tight end, I wouldn't mind letting go of Hooper.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'd want to know what happens. Connor Conor has 4 out of 5 juicy matchups. Yeah, I still like Conor. I absolutely do. But man, DeAndre Swift, I think
Conor had 2 juicy matchups the last 2 weeks, and what did he do?
I think DeAndre Swift down the stretch is going to be a league winner. Like, he's got that type of potential. And
I knew it was going to be someone, man. I knew one of these rookie running backs was, and I'm really hoping there's 2 of them because I hope Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the other one.
Yeah, no, because, I hope so.
I expected it to be Dobbins, to be honest, but Mark Ingram coming back kind of ruined that. But I expected this week, if Ingram was still out, Dobbins would have been that like league winner type. But
yeah,
fucking Mark Ingram has to ruin everything.
Fucking guy. In our fucking Dynasty League, we had Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins in our RB slots. So we have nobody else because we traded them for picks.
Oh,
my squad is Lamar at RB, running backs James Robinson, Montgomery, Fournette, Akers, Duke, Bernard, Kelly, receivers Adams, Evans, Chark, Jefferson, Reagor, tight end Andrews. I'm 6-3. Should I change anything?
I would try and upgrade your running back core. Fournette is the guy I'm looking at right now to get rid of.
Like if you can package like Fournette and
Montgomery.
I was going to say even like Fournette and Jefferson, I wouldn't mind doing because I still think Reagor could be a fine wide receiver 4 down the stretch for you.
Yeah. If you could package Fournette and Justin Jefferson and get someone like
you might be able to still get DeAndre Swift for that type of price, man.
I don't think so. I don't think anyone's trading Swift for that much. I think you could probably get Antonio Gibson for Fournette and Jefferson or Fournette. Sorry, Fournette and Jefferson maybe for trying to think who's like right ahead of Gibson in terms of value.
Well, let me check my ranking. James Conor could work, because he's underperforming. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Why are the Bears always on Monday? Who wants to watch the Bears?
I don't know, but the Bucs are going to be on Monday Night Football next week against the Rams, and our 3 worst games of the season: Bears Thursday night, Giants Monday night, Saints Sunday night. I hate put us back in the 1 o'clock window where we belong. I don't like primetime games; they make me nervous.
Yeah, no, I agree. Screw the Bears. They also, I don't know how they beat you guys, but whatever.
We had fucking 200 yards of penalties. That's how.
In my second league, do you think I should drop Jerick McKinnon? I mean, we were going I wouldn't drop. I
wouldn't drop him. I still think he's pretty solid.
I would want to know who's available, but yeah.
Going back to Rashad Lee's question with Fournette and Jefferson, if you can get Raheem Mostert for that, that's something I would do. Yes. Or Austin Eckler, if you could get that. I'd be willing. Raheem Mostert is my favorite trade target right now. He's the guy I'm going after in every league I'm in.
Absolutely. He says, do you think I win tonight? Bears defense needs 15. Yes, I do think you win, Josh. Do I want you to win? Absolutely not, because I want you to dominate that consolation. You can be the best team in consolation for all I care about, but if you sneak into the playoffs, I will be upset. I mean, he's got the most points for, and he's somehow 5-5.
Yep.
Yeah, you got a really good team there.
I think I'm going to take Kirk Cousins out of my DFS lineup because it's a primetime game.
Yes, take him out.
Well, he's the only Viking I have in there right now.
I mean, can you put Dalvin in that slot instead?
I kind of want to fade Dalvin.
I mean,
I'm kind of a dumbass for wanting to do that, but I'm going to throw Thielen in there.
That's fair. Also, what's the Raiders giving Devontae Booker so much volume? Makes me nervous. I think both can be good. I mean, I don't think Devontae Booker is going to give you 17 touches a game, but maybe a low-end flex on a week can give you 10 to 12.
I just saw it.
Yeah, I know. I'll get to that. I think he can do that for you, be a low-end flex down the stretch. I mean, there's so much rushing volume in this Raiders offense right now that realistically, no matter who's running the ball between the tackles for them, they're going to be efficient. To check that out. Man, one guy has Jacobs, Robinson, Mixon, and Gibson in my league, so he won't take Conor and Henry for Robinson. Oh, rip. Yeah, that guy is fucking chilling.
Yeah, that guy is big chilling.
Yeah. Thank you, my brothers. Anytime, Javon. You like that?
Yeah, so championship week. Or sorry, not championship week, but like the last 2 weeks of the season, Jacobs has the Chargers and the Dolphins, and then he has the Jets week 13 and Kansas City next week. But he has the Falcons week 12, who've actually been good against the run, and Indianapolis week 14, which ain't great.
Yikes. But yeah, you like that. Take it easy, Javon. See ya. I also just traded with the guy who has Sanders. Did my CEH?
I tried to do that in so many leagues with CEH. I have CEH in like 3 leagues, and I was like, I want Eckler in these leagues. I'm like, give me Eckler for CEH, please.
Yeah, for real.
No one wanted to do it.
I'm not sure if he'll take another trade back and see. If not, who are other running backs I can target with Conor and Henry? So we mentioned those 3 guys. I mean, heck, DeAndre Swift. Honestly, I think you could probably get Conor for Swift straight up, but
Yeah.
if I have to throw Henry in to get Swift instead of Conor, I'll do that.
I think you have to try and get like Swift is on, like he looks incredible right now. Like, he just looks so good. And it's hard to, I've always said this. I hate when people say like don't take talented players for whatever reason because of regression or whatever like that. When Swift is really talented and the way he's playing, you want a piece of that. Like the core of fantasy when it was first made was pick the best players. Yeah. Like that's all it was. That's how simple it was when it first came around in like the 70s or the 80s or whatever. It was just, oh, who do I want on my team? I want freaking, I don't know, who would have been the best running? Walter Payton on my team. Yeah. Like, because he's Walter Payton.
Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders. I want freaking
Emmett Smith.
Thomas.
For the record, talking about DeAndre Swift, in that one dynasty league we're in right now, I ended up flipping Kareem Hunt for a projected top 6 first-round pick and next year's second-round pick. And my RB core for the future is still going to end up being Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, and DeAndre Swift. So I'm pretty happy with that result.
If you own Kareem Hunt in Dynasty, please sell him right now.
Yes.
Because actually, no, he re-signed a contract. Never mind. Before everyone was like, oh, Kareem Hunt's going to like perform and like go off and sign a huge running back contract with another team. That is the biggest lie in fantasy. If you ever hear Dynasty fantasy football analysts talking about like, oh, he's going to hit free agency and be a great option, that's like a 5% chance of happening for most players, especially for running backs. It might even be less.
Remember when like people were fading Aaron Jones because they took AJ Dillon and he's like, oh, he's going to be a free agent next year. And now
I got Aaron Jones in the 5th round of a startup.
Insane. Respect, bro. I may be GM of the year if I can make the playoffs. Yeah, just hopefully you don't, because I don't want to see you in the playoffs. If you want to give me DeAndre Swift, I mean, we could work something out there. Let me know what your thoughts are too, by the way, Josh, obviously, because you're in the league. What are your thoughts on my recent moves? I went from wanting to tank a couple weeks ago to now I'm pushing for that playoff contention with that Julio Jones rental move. So let me know what you're thinking there, because Kamara and Julio Jones are going to be scary as well.
So what do you think? Dalvin Cook, 23 full PPR points is what I need.
Yes.
Oh, you know what I just realized? There's a chance I could get both options in the 2 leagues. Remember how I said I need Dalvin to score less than 20 and more than
PPR? Full and half PPR.
It's PPR in my school league, and we get points for 40+ yard plays, but we don't get points for 40+ yard plays in the listener league, plus it's half PPR. So there's a chance he gets there.
Oh shit! I skipped your question by accident. Trade Miles Sanders and DJ Moore for my MT? Absolutely not. I wouldn't take MT straight up for Miles Sanders.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Keep Sanders and Moore. What's up, Notorious? Says Kellis. You're man, 3-7 officially got eliminated. LOL. Woods and Conor killed me. Literally only needed like 10. Wow. Unfortunate to hear there, Trey. That's
big yikes.
Brutal. But yeah, points. It is almost 8:15. So anybody who has last second questions, we can answer for you guys. Otherwise, we're going to put the game on. So leave your last second questions in there.
He said, Josh said, definitely scared of Kamara, and you fleeced Seb on that Julio trade.
Oh, come on.
Julio.
So it's a keeper league, right? So we keep 3 players, and then we have picks. So basically, he wasn't keeping Julio anyways. He has Kelsey, and he has Miles Sanders as his 2 vet players. So I offered him my 3rd rounder in exchange for Julio Jones. Like, I don't know why that's a fleece, because I'm without a 3rd rounder next year, and he's not going to make the playoffs, so he wanted an extra pick. He actually has an extra 1st round pick and an extra 3rd round pick for next year. The guy who's tanking.
And who you say his keepers were? Kelsey.
Keepers are Kelsey, Miles Sanders, and then CeeDee Lamb as his rookie.
Oof.
So he's rebuilding for next year, while I'm going for the championship this year.
I've never played in a keeper league. Not one.
It's interesting because it's not necessarily full-fledged dynasty where half the league is tanking, half the league, or like 3 teams are like super contenders. It's basically balancing both, because if you're a contender and you want that edge, you know you're going to have to sacrifice more, because again, you're not going to be keeping the majority of your team, the nucleus of your team, for the year after, because you can only keep 3 total players. So basically what happens is that 3rd round pick, that's going to end up being like a key, crucial wide receiver 2 for you the next year, right? So being able to balance your game plan with contending this year versus still keeping a respectable team for the year after is ultimately how you can kind of combine it. Because, for example, 2 years ago, I ended up winning or last year, sorry, I ended up winning the championship because 2 years ago, I traded Odell Beckham, Sony Michel, because I knew I wasn't going to keep one of them. And I ended up just keeping Kittle instead, profited an extra first, third, and fourth overall or round picks, rebuilt my team around that. So being able to balance pushing it all for this year and still keeping relevant picks for the following year is kind of how you can develop a winning game plan in keeper leagues. Whereas Dynasty, I mean, if you're not in it in a year, you basically sell off your whole team for picks. And it's like, it's crazy.
I still don't really buy into that strategy of Dynasty. I'd still rather keep most of my team because, in my opinion, like the picks are way more valuable closer to the draft. So if I'm going to sell off my team, I'd wait until then to do it.
Yeah, no, that's when I usually do it as well. Again, I'm not in a lot of rebuilds. The time that rookie picks and everything like that and players have the most value, in my opinion, is when you're in the startup. So when we were working that startup in the Dynasty League we're in, we kept trading down and acquiring future first. So at that point, we still had a respectable team built around Patrick Mahomes, George Kittle, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, J.K. Dobbins for the future. And we have like 4 first-round picks and 3 second-rounders to build around those guys. And we're 5-5 somehow right now. Like, I don't know how that happened.
Wish that league was for money.
Yeah. Imagine those for money. I mean, heck, Tyler went all in for this year, and we have the same record as him right now.
Yikes. What happens when you build your dynasty team around running backs? Sorry.
Yeah. Big facts. Hey, boys, love the show. 10-man Superflex Dynasty. I've been offered Rager and Akers for Terry. Thoughts?
I'd rather have Terry. I'd rather have Terry.
I would. Yeah, I mean, if you're rebuilding, I can understand.
Rebuilding, competing, whatever. I'd rather have Terry.
Yeah. I'd probably still prefer the Terry side. Akers, to me, out of the running backs,
it's not that I don't like Akers. It's actually, to be honest, more that I don't like Rager. I don't think Rager's going to ever get to the status of Terry McLaurin. And with the running back position, you need to see it the first year. Like, I think you have to. If you don't see it the first year, Akers has got 6-7 weeks to prove me that he's going to be a solid asset going forward.
I agree.
I don't want to buy low on running backs that had a bad rookie season, to be honest.
Now, conversely, if that was Rager in a first-round pick, what are your thoughts there?
I'd prefer it, depending on where the pick is going to end up being. I'd probably prefer the first over Akers.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the fact is, like, Akers was viewed as a mid to early first-round pick just last year. And that's what happens. I mean, if running backs don't perform in their first year,
it's different. Receivers, it's all depending on opportunity, right? Like targets and all that kind of stuff and playing time. With running backs, if you're a good player, you'll get on the field. And Akers, they've already said it numerous times. Like, it's above the shoulders for him right now, and that's why he's not on the field, which is not good because that's the type of shit we heard with Ronald Jones and stuff like that. And Ronald Jones has turned out to be a solid dynasty asset right now, but it took him 3 years.
Yeah, for sure. It's a redraft league, so no deal on that.
Absolutely. The Michael Thomas and Sanders trade. Yeah, no, keep Sanders.
Don't do that. Rank rest of season non-PPR. Julio, A-Rob, Allen. For me, that in a non-PPR,
A-Rob is last.
Yes, I was gonna say I probably have it Julio, Allen, A-Rob in that order.
Really, I think Keenan's first,
close.
And
they're like
the touchdowns with Julio. I would put Keenan above him.
That's fair. Again, those guys are neck and neck for me. They're probably around the 7-8.
They're probably all in my top 8. And they're probably 5, 6, 7. So I would go Keenan, Julio, A-Rob is the way I would order those guys.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. They also said Sanders had the unluckiest game ever. I actually didn't see a whole lot of that game, to be honest. So I can't quite comment on how unlucky his game was.
Talking to the guy who has Miles right now, but he has Mark Andrews, but he's disciplined Andrews, so I might be able to get him too.
If you can somehow sell him that Hunter Henry is good or is better than Mark Andrews, then I commend you on your trading skills.
Absolutely. Anyways, it is 8:19 right now. Maybe if you actually, you know what? It's an hour 18 into the live stream. If you guys have a question before an hour 20, we'll answer it. So about a minute 15 left. Sorry, I was answering a text. It's my bad.
Yeah, no worries. Oh yeah. So, see ya. Spicy Hot Taco says see y'all. And Spencer says thanks guys. No worries. Make sure you guys, if you're still in here, hit the like button. If you haven't already done so, helps us out.
Yeah, I agree. Why can't I see it on the thing then? What the heck? Does it show up on the YouTube?
Oh, I have it pulled up on my
Oh.
other screen right now, so it
Yeah.
comes up a bit earlier for me.
Yeah, it was just a little late for me. Yeah, fuck with you.
Peace out, Notorious.
Love you, brother. You guys are fantastic, man. Appreciate that, Trey. Glad you're enjoying. Got you with the like. Appreciate that, Josh. Nice to see all of y'all tuning into this Monday night live stream. I mean, hopefully this is more enjoyable than what the Bears Vikings game should present. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
All
20
right,
more seconds.
Yeah, let's head out of here.
Yep. All right. Take it easy, y'all. Enjoy your week. And I'll hit you with that waiver show tomorrow morning. So stay tuned.
Cool.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace.